James is with us now. I think he was with us earlier, and he's actually bang on time. We're calling him in a little slightly early. Good to have you with us, James.
Morning.
James is a licensed speech language pathologist from Virginia in the States, specializing in augmentative and alternative communication and assistive technology. He's got over a decade of experience providing communication solutions for individuals with locked-in syndrome. James has given us presentations before, and he's given brief talks during lunch breaks, and we wanted him back to give an updated talk on what work he's been doing. So he's going to be sharing with us some practical strategies for maximizing communication through AAC tools, with a focus on empowering both individuals and their families. So I'll hand it over to you now, James. Good to see you. Lovely to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Hello from Virginia in the United States. Before I share my screen, I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly, so I'm sharing sound as well. I have a couple short video clips, so let me go ahead and share here and get that all turned on, and then we'll jump into the conversation. You seeing my slides now, Shannon?
We see your screen, but it's your email now.
It's your email. Your Gmail screen's come up.
Okay. Thank you.
We see you again now. Handsome and smiling.
There we go. This should do it.
Yep, yes. That's got it, but it's got your slides at the side. You just need to maximize it and you're done. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Nice to see you all. Nice to meet you. I have a short slide presentation I'm going to give, share a few stories. At the end, I have my name and my email address, so feel free to reach out with any questions or thoughts or comments. And I'm so pleased to be here again this year. Today, I'm going to be talking about communication strategies from gestures to gadgets. So we have no-tech options and we have high-tech options. My name is James Brinton. As Shannon mentioned, I'm a licensed speech and language pathologist, and I'm in Virginia, just out of Washington, D.C. in the United States. I'm going to start off by saying currently I'm working with a company called New Motion Speech Solutions, and New Motion Speech Solutions sells communication devices, software, and hardware from different manufacturers. But today I'm participating with this conference just as a volunteer for educational purposes. So I thought I should put that up front here. Over the next 20-25 minutes, we're going to talk about several ideas. First, I'm going to mention and talk about the Communication Bill of Rights. If you've never heard about the Communication Bill of Rights, I would encourage you and your families to look this up on the internet and print it out and read it. It is a very powerful statement. I'll share some of the ideas from the Communication Bill of Rights. We're then going to talk about yes and no communication. So making sure that we establish a firm yes and no communication system with our family members. We're going to then talk about phrase-based communication tools. I'm going to show and talk about some letter spelling boards. And then we're also going to talk about high-tech communication tools that are available out there. First, I wanted to really share and get to the heart of communication, as we've been speaking about already as I jumped into this conference. To me, it's evidence that all of us as humans, from the earliest measurable indicators, from the time that we're babies, are designed to socially connect and communicate with others. And infants' first words are the beginning of a lifetime of communication. And even when the ability to speak stops due to disability, we continue to have a constant desire for connection and social interaction with other people. So what is the Communication Bill of Rights? I encourage you to look this up if you haven't read it in its entirety. It's a document that has been created by the National Joint Committee for the Communication Needs of Persons with Severe Disabilities, which is an organization in New Jersey in the United States. And they made this document and declared it as the Communication Bill of Rights. And it details and explains rights that we have as human beings regarding communication. And I wanted to share some of them this morning. The Communication Bill of Rights states that all people have the right to meaningful communication that is culturally and linguistically appropriate. All human beings have the right to interact socially and to build and keep relationships. We also have the right to express preferences and feelings, to make comments, to share our opinions. And we have the right to make choices from meaningful options. When these rights are taken away from us, it is our quest, and as speech therapists, as caregivers, as family members of somebody who has lost their communication, to restore and preserve these communication rights. So each one of you out there have these rights, and it's our mission and our work to help preserve and maintain your rights to communicate and to connect with the world around you. So let's jump into some communication tools and strategies. So first, I want to speak about establishing a firm yes and no communication system. When somebody is locked in, one of the first things we would like to do is identify a simple sign that indicates yes and a simple sign that indicates no. And we want to ask and find out, can any body part move, even if it's a very small but deliberate movement? This could be the movement of an eyebrow, raising an eyebrow, perhaps moving your lips in a certain fashion, moving your tongue in a certain way, sticking it out or clicking it, slightly moving a finger, or moving your eyes in some direction. Again, it can be any body part and any movement, whether it's larger or small. Some examples that I've seen, some people look right for yes and left for no. Or they may look up for yes and down for no, if they have consistent and controllable eye movement. Some people I've seen, they pucker their lips for yes, and then they relax them for no. Or they give any sign for yes, and they do nothing for no. So the sign that you can give means yes, and doing nothing indicates no. It's so important for us who are support staff and family members, when we ask yes and no questions, they need to be short and they need to be direct. So we cannot ask a question that has two parts. We need to ask one simple yes and no question. For example, are you cold? That's a very short and simple question, and we wait for a yes or a no answer. Are you hot? Yes or no. Are you in pain? Yes or no. So every question we ask using this communication method needs to be short and direct and requires us to wait for the answer and carefully observe our communication partner. So that's yes and no communication. All right, so let's move on to something called partner-assisted scanning. On the right, I have made up an example poster. I've been in homes where the family puts a big poster on the wall, and on the poster, we have different items that the person may need to request. So my poster here says 1, I need suctioning. 2, I'm hungry. 3, it's cold. 4, it's hot. 5, please adjust my pillows. 6, I have pain, etc., etc. And so the family can make up a poster board and list common needs, and the communication partner or the caregiver, nurse, or family member will scan down with their finger saying, do you need number 1? Do you need number 2? Do you need number 3? So they scan down and they watch for the signal that has been established previously, the yes/no signal, and they look for the signal for yes as they go down and scan through these simple phrases. And this is a way that as family members and caregivers, we can anticipate the needs and quickly scan through and find out what needs to be done in that moment, carefully observing for the individual's person for a signal for yes. So this is called partner-assisted scanning, and it's done with a poster or a phrase board. I have some examples here. This is a partner-assisted scanning alphabet board. So on the right, you'll see A through Z, an alphabet board. You also see these are aligned by color. Each row starts with a vowel, and at the bottom we have numbers. So here the partner would hold up an alphabet board and scan row by row and carefully watch for the signal of the person who is their communication partner. And then once they get to the row that's indicated, then they would scan letter by letter. So this partner-assisted scanning alphabet board is a way to spell words letter by letter. It's kind of like a dance. The communication partner does their part and watches for the individual signal for yes, and they go letter by letter. Sometimes we have letters on one side, and on the other side we might have common phrases. Here's the same concept, partner-assisted scanning using phrases. So you see here we have all sorts of short words meaning phrases: hot, cold, pillow, thirsty, hearing aid, glasses. On the right we have a pain scale. So this type of communication board can be used by partner scanning through row by row, then column by column to identify, carefully watching their communication partner to give the indication for yes, that's my selection. So this is partner-assisted scanning using a short phrase board. Now I have a video example I've inserted in, and I like this has a short explanation, and then an example, a visual example of two people using partner-assisted scanning to communicate. So I want us all to observe carefully the signal for yes that the person is giving. It's when they move their eyes up.
A couple of useful tips when using partner-assisted scanning are always to make sure that the person you're communicating with is happy for you to guess what they're trying to say. Some people like this, other people find it annoying, so do check. Also, if you're asking the person to communicate a lot of words, you may want to use a whiteboard to jot down what they're writing, both as a reference for you and for them, so that they can remember what they're saying. Okay, Samir, so we're going out today. Can you tell me where you'd like to go? I'm going to use the chart with you. How are you going to indicate yes? You're going to look up. Okay. So let's start scanning through. Where would you like to go today? Is the first letter on the A row, B row, I row, O row? Looks like you've chosen O. Is it O, P? It's P. Okay, first letter P. Next letter. Is it on the A row? It's on the A row. Is it A? That looks like you've chosen A. P-A. Okay. Next letter. Is it on the A row? D row? I row? O row? You've chosen the O row. Is it O? P? Q? R? It's R. P-A-R. Okay. Next letter. Is it on the A row? D row? I row? Is it I? J? K? It's K. Is the word park? You'd like to go to the park. Okay, let's go.
So you can see in that example, this really requires the two parties to work together, to have patience together. Imagine if one of the letters is mistaken, you have to start over. So it takes a lot of observation, patience. And you'll notice how the person holding the board confirmed their selection. It looks like you spelled the word park. You want to go to the park, and they asked for a yes or no confirmation. So this really requires a lot of keen observance and time, really. Spelling out words letter by letter does take time. With practice, though, I've seen communication partners become very fluent in this communication method and very quick. And as she mentioned at the beginning, sometimes it's nice to ask if the person would like you to guess the word. So if we're spelling the word park and we get to P-A-R, you might say, is the word park, and speed it up a little bit. Some people like to spell out the entire word without any guesses from their communication partner. What I have pictured here is something called an E-Tran board. An E-Tran board, as you see, is a plexiglass board that is held up between the two communication partners. And the partner holds this board up, and you'll see on the board different letters and numbers are placed in different quadrants on the board. Using an E-Tran board, the individual can spell out words letter by letter with eye movement. And there's a window in the middle of the board so their communication partner can look at the eye movement of the person they're speaking with. And using this go-between, they can spell out using their eye movements. This, like any other communication methods, takes practice, takes a little bit of trial and error, but this is called an E-Tran board, and you have it by the bedside. You can hold it up and start communicating using eye movements. This is just one other example. The individual spelling the words identifies the letters, and they spell letter by letter. What I want to move into next is speech generating device access through switches. Some people can access an electronic communication device through any intentional body movement using something called a switch. In the next few slides, I have a few videos, and I have some specific pictures of switches that I've seen people use. To use a switch, you have to have some sort of small, reliable, and volitional muscle or body movement. So this could be the small movement of your hand or finger. It could be any body muscle. It could be your muscle on your shoulder. It could be a muscle on your neck. It could be a bite reflex. When we clench our jaw, there's muscle movement all the way up from our jaw into our temple. It could be a blink. It could be a mouth movement, like moving your tongue or moving your jaw slightly or your lips. It could be head movement, moving your little toe, moving your leg muscle, etc. So this can be any muscle or body movement that is reliable and volitional and doesn't trigger other body movements. Using a switch allows you to access software that provides speech generation, and the software scans on the screen and the individual selects by triggering the switch with their body movement. So the software scans and you select when it gets to the right item on the screen. Here's some switch examples. And I put the name of each switch in case you're interested in looking these up online. This one's called a super sensitive micro switch. It's placed in the palm of the hand, and it's Velcro to any finger that has slight movement. This switch is meant to be sensitive to very light and small movements. So you can see that here it's Velcroed to the individual's pointer finger, which they can move slightly and trigger a switch. This wire is then connected to the computer, and the software recognizes, kind of like a mouse click, anytime the switch is activated, that there's a selection made in the software. This one is called the Augmental Mouth Pad. Now, this is a custom mouth pad. So they take a dental impression and they make a custom dental guard that has inside on the palate, the top palate of the mouth, it has a very small field where you can move your tongue and use that to activate the movements of a mouse. So you can click, you can move and navigate if you have tongue movement here at the top of your mouth. So this is a mouth pad. This is essentially a mouth switch. This is a Bluetooth device, so you place it in your mouth and it connects to a computer by Bluetooth, and it allows you to select and move a mouse and switch if your tongue movement is something that you can reliably show. This next one is called a twitch switch. You can see the picture. It is taped here to the muscles of the cheek and the bite reflex. So if there's any movement here with the jaw or the mouth, the twitch switch can recognize it and use it to select on a communication device through communication software. This next one is interesting. Neuronode is the company, and this is a company that has gained a lot of traction globally. They offer several types of switches, and this switch that I have pictured is called the Neuronode EMG switch. So it's an EMG switch that goes directly on the skin, and this can go anywhere on the body. And you'll see that it has a strap. So how it is pictured here is it's going to be measuring any muscle movement here in the forearm. Neuronode has several types of switches. This is the EMG switch with electrodes. So you see that there are little electrodes that are placed on the skin to capture any slight movement of the thumb. Now, these electrodes can be placed anywhere on the body, on the neck, on the temple, on the cheek, on the shoulder, on your legs, anywhere on the body that can show a reliable small movement of the muscles. And this last one I've chosen here is called the Ava headband. This is a company that it's a blink switch. So you wear the headband and it monitors when you blink, and you can set the settings to have it recognize when you are intentionally and deliberately blinking to switch to make a selection on a communication device. All of these switches take customization and a little bit of finagling to customize and really make work for the individual. And there's never a guarantee that a switch will work, but all of these are worth trying depending on the type of body movement that somebody might have, even if it's very small. And here's a video of switch scanning. This is using the Neuronode device that I showed previously, and this one is being triggered by the person moving their finger. So what I want you to observe here is I want you to observe the software on the screen scanning row by row and column by column, and the person switching using their finger movement to select whatever is being scanned on the screen. And you'll see that they're spelling using the keyboard at the bottom, and they're also selecting using the word prediction near the top. So this is what switch scanning can look like with this type of switch. You see they move their finger and it selects on the screen. Okay, so that was an example of switch scanning using a Neuronode switch and a communication device with communication software on it. The big question is, how do individuals and families get access to devices like these? It's recommended that you be seen by a speech and language pathologist or an occupational therapist or an assistive technology specialist to provide an evaluation to see what parts of the body have movement to access a communication device. A speech and language pathologist, even without an electronic a high-tech communication device, can work with a family to put in place reliable, low-tech communication methods to ease frustration and increase participation, and to, again, allow somebody to have their communication rights in place. There are many devices, hardware, software, different types of switches. So I would recommend finding a professional who knows assistive technology to provide an evaluation if you're looking into technology like this. Let's move on to eye gaze access. So eye gaze is a method that allows somebody to access a speech generating device. And on the bottom of an eye gaze device, there's an eye tracking camera that captures the movements of the person's eye. And in order to select something, they look at it on the screen and dwell on it for a certain amount of time, and it selects letters and phrases. So this is called eye gaze technology, and there are several manufacturers of these devices. And it's worth trying out, finding an eye tracking device that really works well with your eyes. Each eye tracking camera has different features and can handle different eye conditions. Using an eye gaze communication device, people can type up to 30 words per minute. They can access keyboard and phrase pages, communication software. The eye tracker acts as a keyboard and mouse. So using an eye gaze device, you can have full computer access, websites, social media, email, internet, shopping, word generation using documents, Excel spreadsheets. So it's just an access method to a computer device that has communication software on it. I've pictured here the eye gaze Edge. This is one example. There are many manufacturers of these devices. Now, for resources, I have put a few companies that are well established and have some really good, not only tools, but teams that can help guide the process. First, I've put eye gaze. They're a manufacturer here in the United States. They have a reputation for doing international evaluations and providing tools in countries outside of the United States. If you're looking at eye gaze, Smartbox is located in the UK, and they have a great portfolio of communication software and hardware devices. Control Bionics, I highlighted several of their switches here, the EMG switch and the EMG with electrodes. I think it's worth looking at and asking questions. Let's talk quickly about iPad. iPads are ubiquitous, right? Many people have iPads in their home, and Apple has come a long way in providing accessibility features, including many communication apps. Here we've got pictured an app that has phrases. Apple now has integrated head tracking and eye tracking that is compatible with some of these apps. The head tracking and the eye tracking on an iPad for many people may not be robust and accurate enough to reliably use for everyday communication. It may work well for some people, and it may really fall apart for other people. So if you have an iPad, using the eye tracking is certainly worth a try with any number of apps that are available on the App Store. And I imagine that Apple will continue to make improvements to their head tracking and their eye tracking to make it available to more and more people with disabilities. I wanted also to talk a little bit more this year about brain-computer interface. As I hopped onto the meeting this morning, I think people were talking a little bit about the availability of BCI units, is what they're called. And a brain-computer interface, or BCI, translates neural activity into computer commands or selections. And there are two types of BCI approaches. One is a non-invasive approach, which uses electrodes on the scalp. So maybe a scalp cap with all sorts of wires and electrodes in it. And there's also invasive BCI, which uses surgically implanted electrodes. The invasive BCI I have seen, and you can search these on Google, case studies and research that is being done, people who are using this as case studies to access communication and typing, and these BCI implants being used for research purposes. So there are many clinical trials in progress, and currently with few commercially available options at this time. I feel that this is a great potential and the wave of the future. So I'm very eager to learn about brain-computer interface as those become more and more available within the disability community. If you have any questions, I'd invite you to put them in the chat. Here's my email address if you have any questions offline. If you want to contact me, it's jbrintonslp@gmail.com. And it's been a pleasure to be here. We have about 5 minutes before moving on to the next speaker. So I'll leave this up for a moment. Shannon, I don't know if you want to interrupt with any questions here from the chat or if we'll wrap things up.
Thank you, James. Yeah, there was a question. Stefan's had his hand up. Sorry, Stefan, I saw your hand up for quite a while, but we don't like interrupting people while they're in the middle of their presentation. So perhaps you can remember your questions and launch them at James now.
Yes, thank you, Stefan.
Baka, can you unmute? Thank you.
You can unmute yourself, Stefan, in the bottom left of your screen.
He says he can't.
He says he can't. Okay, let me have a look then.
Let's see if I can.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you, Stefan.
Oh, okay, I have two questions about the presentation. Cool stuff. The first is, and this has always bothered me ever since I learned about alphabet boards. Has anyone done any work with putting the letters not in the QWERTY order or in alphabetic order, but rather in frequency order? It would seem like you get I did a rough calculation. It seemed like you get about a 25% speed up in letter recognition because you just don't have to go through so many rows and columns.
Yes, I have seen that. I've not seen that on a paper letter board, but I've seen software on an eye gaze device that has a frequency keyboard with everything coming out of the center.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah,
that's good. Somebody's playing with that.
Yeah,
there's little tricks like that that can really speed up and think of the person we're communicating with rather than.
Yeah, I'm an algorithm guy. Computer science algorithm.
We've all been taught to use. Yes.
The other thing I just wanted to mention in passing, when I was doing research on this thing in Spain, I got introduced to these two phenomenal sisters, both of which had developmental disabilities, one of which was somewhat cognitively limited, the other one not so much. In fact, she had a master's, and they're both stuck in wheelchairs. And turns out that the one without the intellectual disabilities had figured out a way to communicate to the other one and to be the voice for the other one by making shapes of letters with their eyes. It was just remarkable, and they were really fast too. So wanted to share that, really. And anybody that wants to get in contact with them or anything, I still have, it's been years, but I still have contact with them. And it was so smooth and so accurate and so fast. Okay, thanks.
Incredible. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for James? You can email direct to him. You can go on the chat section on our Zoom meeting, or you can contact him through me.
I would like to ask a question, maybe. So thanks, James. It was a great presentation. I'm just curious about your reflections as a speech and language pathologist on this latest development of BCI. Do you think it will become something that is used like regularly by people with LIS, or do you think there are problems with accessibility? Yeah, I'm just curious in your thoughts about it. You're not able to unmute yourself. That's weird, actually.
I wonder why it's doing that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. With the BCI that's commercially, well, either commercially available or in trial, there's a lot of setup that needs to be done. It takes a lot of time. There's a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong, so opportunity for frustration. I do think that if we look over the next decade, great advances will be made for the availability and the ease of use. I don't know if that answers your questions. There certainly are things that it takes a lot of time to kind of train the software and BC to put out meaningful input or output in a certain amount of time. A lot of limitations still.
Just while Stefan's still there, someone called Ellie Kendall has posted up some things onto the chat section at the side of your screen there, Stefan, where you might be able to have a look at the screen for frequency keyboards. Should be helpful for you. Have you anything else? Any more questions for James? Thank you very much, James. It's lovely to see you. Always good to see you. Thank you so much for taking part, and thank you for being such an active member on our Locked-in Syndrome Community Forum. It's really, really helpful having you there, giving advice and help for people.
Thank you, Shannon. My
Thank
pleasure.
you. Good to see you.